Let's create the Vue.js component that is going to be in charge of our lessons. So right in my components directory, I'm going to create a new lessons.vue, and by default it's going to have a template. And just for us to see what's in that, I'm going to have a lessons header, and I'm going to export an empty object. Then in my app.js, I just need to pull in this component, and I'll register it as Vue lessons, and I'll require that in. Awesome. Now in our template index.blade.php, we could actually pass this lessons into this Vue component so that we'll be able to give the management of our lessons to Vue from there. Okay, so let's first of all mount this Vue lessons, and looks like we need to pass a default lessons into this component as soon as the component is mounted or as soon as we refresh the page. So we're gonna say default lessons is the name of the prop that we want to pass, and we're gonna assign this to series lessons. So this is automatically gonna pass all the lessons for this series into the default lessons prop. Then we need to set up that prop, right? So props, and we'd have a default lessons prop. But then this is actually going to be received in JSON format, because remember we are trying to echo objects right here. Because we have a collection of objects, we're trying to echo them. Therefore Laravel is automatically going to cast that to a string or JSON and pass it right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a data, and one of them is going to be a lessons property, and it's going to be this dot default lessons. Okay, so by default, as soon as we receive the props, we're going to have a property lessons that has this. But then what about formatting that back into the proper object notation? We're going to have a computed property for that. So let's just say formatted lessons. It's simply going to return json.parse this.lessons. So that's what we can actually use in our template. And let's go ahead and actually echo this out. Or before we do that, let's make sure that we're actually passing that data and everything is working in our Vue DevTools. So we have our Vue DevTools open, hard refresh, and there we go. We have our lessons, and if we check out our Vue lessons, we have the prop, which is the default, which is in JSON format like expected. Then we have the data that is exactly this prop, but then we have this formatted lessons, which is an array of all the lessons for this series. Okay, so we can actually look through this array and display the lessons. So what we're gonna do is we'll pull out this title that we use for testing. Then in our lessons.vue, we want to wrap this in a container div, and then have our ordered list, and we're going to have list group items, and each of this is going to represent a lesson, right? So we have to simply say v4, and we have to decide what we are looping through, and we already have the formatted lessons array here, so we can say lesson in formatted lessons, and right here we're simply going to echo out lesson.title. So let's see if that works. Quick refresh, and looks like it works, right? But there's no styling, and I think that's because of this S right here. I'm gonna pull it out. Quick refresh again. Okay, exactly as we expect. So we have our list items right there displayed from our formatted lessons. What about creating lessons and automatically updating this list?